Bring it in close. We're going to have a little conversation about something really cool I just learned about astrology that I plugged into 2 numerology charts so far with fantastic laser-like accuracy. And this is one of those things which, you know, if you watch my videos, you know I love. The simplest is the profoundest. It's a very simple thing. So first I want to shout out KRS, which is who I learned the astrological technique from, which I then took and run with. And I'm going to share about that in this video. So it's really simple. There's something called your ascendant in astrology. Now, I particularly am using Vedic astrology, so this is where I'm referencing Vedic astrology. So your ascendant falls in a house, a sign, where in the previous life you neglected, which is what cultivated a desire to be born in that particular sign. Now, first of all, what is the ascendant? The ascendant defines your entire chart. What do I mean by that is the natural first house, if you know about astrology, is Aries. Pisces is the natural 12th house. But if your ascendant is in Gemini, then your 12th house now becomes Taurus. So because your ascendant is in Gemini, it defines that Taurus is your 12th house, Aries is your 11th house, so on and so forth. So it defines the themes of the life in the different areas and the signs. Now, the technique is you look at the opposite sign. Let's use Gemini. So if you are born as a Gemini ascendant, that means in a previous life or in previous lives, you were focused too much on Sagittarius things, on 9th house things, like being a scholar, a counselor, advisor, focusing too much on studying and higher education. And just imagine that version of you, that Sagittarius, at the end of your life, you're kind of laying on your deathbed and you're like, man, I did all this studying, all this focus on learning. And I kind of neglected my inner child, Gemini. I kind of neglected socializing, of just being innocent and expressing myself. And so in the next life, in this life, they took a birth as a Gemini. Now, I've experimented this so far twice. I haven't done this with 100 charts or anything like that yet. But typically what happens with me is the way that what's called I'm trying to use my quote fingers here, the universe communicates to me is whenever I get a teaching, I get all these insights that helps me, I alchemize it and make it my own, and I bring truth to it through my own integrity. I use my own references to understand it, and then I'll go and test it. And usually when this happens, I will test it, and right away I will get some sort of cases where it's so glaringly obvious that it's like, okay, it's like the universe is saying, Neosine, hey, pay attention to this one because it works. This is how it's been working for me, and this is how it has worked, and this is how it continues to work. And that's why I'm making this video. So let me get into the meat and potatoes here. The first time I plugged it in was myself. Okay? So I am a Gemini ascendant. And my life revolves around, most of my time at this point in my life, all I do is I'm studying numerology or astrology as I'm doing. I am creating content around it and sharing it with other people, which is when you're watching this video, teaching it, and I'm using it to help people through readings or what have you, coaching, etc. That is the core of my whole life, which is exactly the Sagittarius thing. I am focused, my whole life is focused around counseling, advising, studying, higher education, learning, and then learning from a guru and acting as a guru, in a sense, of teaching, let's just say. That is my whole life. And I'm sitting here, as I'm reflecting this, I'm laughing to myself because I literally was just studying at the moment when I realized this. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting here studying. I woke up today. I had some fresh coconuts, as I do every morning. I go to the coconut stand. I start my day with a couple of fresh coconuts, the water and the meat. I go to a cafe, different cafes around the town where I live. I do my studying, I do my content creation. As I'm studying, I learn things and I start making videos or sharing it, audios. By the way, Substack is where I post all of my content, not just YouTube. That's the core hub for my videos, podcasts, blogs, articles, case studies, etc. Link in the description if you want to know about that. And so that's what my whole life revolves around. I leave that, I go have food. Once I'm done having food, I go back into my work typically. Now, of course, along the way, I'm socializing. I'm spending time with friends. I have friends at the cafes that I go to, and so I'm doing that as well. But that's more of a peripheral. And so you can see that in this life as my ascendant, one of the themes or lessons is around Gemini. Be more innocent, be more social, certainly expression and content creation, because Gemini is third house. Third house is social media, and I've been making videos and content for over a decade, I think, at this point, a long time. So that was one thing. I'm like, okay, this is 100% lined up with my life. Now I went and looked at a friend who I just did a reading for. I did like a 40-plus page reading for this person. Really did a deep. This is the deepest I've gone using both something I call Numerostrology, which is my fusion of numerology and astrology. And their ascendant is an Aries. That means in the previous life or lives, which in this case was definitely, I have numerological proof, which I'll mention. It's been a lifetimes of doing this. Spending too much time focused on relationships. Too much time spending time with your reflection, because the seventh house, which is Libra, is a natural seventh house, is the reflection of your. What is reflection? Relationships. The relationships are reflections of you. Spending too much time there. And what I have observed with this person, which I'll go into numerology in a second, this person spends a lot of their time distracting themselves with social and community dynamics, and defining themselves by that, and they've been having a hard time doing their own thing for themselves. And they have reached a certain point in their life where they have started to really, really want to shift gears and I want to do my own thing now. I want to spend time by myself and do my own thing. Which is showing that the desire of the ascendant is starting to bear fruit. It took them around, let's just say, several decades for that ascendant to really start to kick in. The fruit of it. Now, the ascendant, I'm not saying the ascendant Aries hasn't been influential throughout their life, but the fruit of it, in light of what we just learned about how the ascendant is the lesson in this life, because the opposite sign is where you spent too much of your time, and at the end of that life you had a desire, I just want to do my own thing. You can imagine this person, I can easily see this person at the end of that life, all I do is run around and do things for other people. All I'm doing is community stuff. I just want to have my own time. I want to do my own thing. And that is why the intention in this life has become Aries. You see how this works. Desire is what's behind, it creates the intention, the direction. The desire is first. So, more proof on this is, first of all, in numerology, their year, which can show a past life knowledge they have been working on for several lifetimes, is what? It's a 6. What is 6? Family, community, service to others, relationships. 6's whole lives revolve around other people, relationships. So she has ascendant in Libra, or Aries, which shows that she spent a lot of time in the Libra dynamics in her past lives, which is all around relationships. Her year is a 6, which is showing that she has cultivated a lot of past life knowledge around 6 energy, relationships, family, service to others. And so it's there. Their day vibration is a variant of the number 9. Well, who rules Aries? Mars. What's Mars' number? 9. So you can see is a 1-to-1. Furthermore, they have, without revealing too much, they have certain planets in Libra that show that their self-esteem, comfort, is dependent upon relationships. Those planets are there for a reason. It's showing you that their karma, which is their imprints from previous lives, their comfort and their self-esteem was too dependent on relationships. In this life, the ascendant is in Aries, to do your own thing. Now, I've given you 2 examples that you can take and run with if you have some basic understandings of astrology. This one little thing, as I call simplest, is profoundest. can give you such an awareness. Because awareness, I'm in the business of awareness. Just by knowing certain things, you are removing the darkness. Awareness means shedding light into dark areas where your awareness has been withdrawn. And where your awareness has been withdrawn is where the problems are created from. It is through a lack of awareness that you cause diseases. Lack of awareness, you cause deaths and problems. When awareness is there, it's diffused. Why? Because those demons, which is why darkness, demons, shadow, their whole game is that you don't know what's going on. Their whole power is derived from the fact that you don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, manipulating. These are belief systems on the inside, little random thoughts and subconscious desires and actions and behaviors and thinking patterns and circumstances on the outside. Because you don't know what they're doing, you don't know what you're looking at, you don't know how to make sense of it. May not even be aware of what they are doing to you or what they are doing to you. It is through lack of awareness. Therefore, awareness, or the light and dark, in the Bible, all the spiritual traditions, is a battle of light and dark. Darkness is lack of awareness, aka ignorance, where you're ignoring. And awareness is the light. When you shed light into something, you become what? Enlightened. The culmination of awareness, at maximum awareness, you achieve enlightenment. When you have omniscience. And from omniscience, omnipotence. All-knowing, all-powerful. Okay, so this one simple tool technique can give you such an awareness, showing you what is your lesson in this life, what is your intention in this life, based upon why. It gives you the why that is the case. You can go pick any sign. If your ascendant's in Capricorn, you were too emotional in the previous life, Cancer. Too fixed, too stuck in the comfort zone. Now you're in Capricorn. To get out of the comfort zone, to go in the world where you're going to have to go and fight. You're going to have to go and get out of your comfort zone to achieve and to do your karma, to walk a higher path. You're going to be more focused from the home to career in this life. Which shows, of course, depending on other factors, that this may be somewhat of a challenge for you in the beginning. That's the whole point. Now we can use further things in astrology and numerology to look for patterns to say for sure where you have strengths, where you have what you're working on. There are ways of doing this. So back to the awareness. It is very valuable. Just the power of this one thing. Now imagine if you're armed with the knowledge of your full numerology or your astrology or something I call your numeroastrology. That's what my reading is of the success code. My success code reading is about arming you with how you're supposed to be operating in this life. My hero journey reading is all about deep dive into shadow, where your darkness is. What is it? What are those subconscious things going on? What are the programs going on behind the surface? Why are you constantly looping certain patterns and circumstances in your life? This is your hero journey. That's what the hero journey is all about. It is about going down and penetrating into the darkness to re-emerge as enlightened. Then I have a reading on perfect timing, which is removing the darkness about what is going on to you right now based on your numerology and astrology cycles. How are you? What is the cycles calling for you to do right now? How can you be aware of this so you're not going against the grain and making the wrong moves at the wrong time? Remember, right place, right time. There's a reason for that saying exists. Right place, right time equals fantastic results. And how to harness this time to get those results. Check out my link in the description, almra.com, if you're interested in readings, but don't forget to follow my Substack, where I'm dropping all of my free content where you can learn a lot of this stuff for yourself. That's substack.com/@Almra, AAUMMRA.com. Sorry, not .com after the @ substack.com/@Almra. There'll be a link around this video. Questions, comments, feedback, let's get a discussion going in the comments below. As always, wishing the best. Happy manifesting. God bless. old.